We'll let us introduce each other. I'm Bidlack Creative Group in Ann Arbor. We've been around since 1987. We're a design strategy firm working with our clients to help create marketing messaging through strategy and design. And Steve, what would you like to do?
Hi, I'm Steve Kinch, and I've been knocking around this business for a long time, about 30 years in the building business, and always in the sales, marketing, market research side of the business. Did a stint with Pulte as their general sales manager, 2 stints with Toll Brothers as VPs. A company called the Silverman Building Company out of Farmington for about 10 years. And then started a company called Home Builders Advantage in 2001, and ran that as far as we could run it until the market ran away. And been on a sabbatical and doing a little bit of a reinvention period. So blah, 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 that's it. And fill you in later and other stuff.
All right. Our presentation today is the 7 marketing mistakes builders and remodelers need to avoid. We actually came up with 14, 17. We just couldn't stop ourselves. So I'm going to give the first half of the 14, and then Steve will give the second half. My half are going to be more generalist. It be not specifically aimed toward builders and remodelers as much as just common sense stuff. The other point I want to make is, you may think this at some point during the presentation. We don't claim that everything we're about to present is rocket science or brand new, but hopefully you'll walk away with 2 or 3 new ideas or points to think about and implement. So, mistake number 1 is confusing marketing with advertising. They're 2 totally different things. Advertising is the creation of advertisements in things like magazines, newspapers, web ads, etc. It's creating advertising. Advertising is part of marketing. But marketing is everything that you do when you are communicating with your audience, either your customers or your prospects, or both. Everything you do that they notice or interact with or see, that's marketing. An example would be not using the back side of a business card, having a blank side like one of the 2 of us does. A clean truck, that's marketing. Company shirts. Your phone number. If you choose your phone number carefully, or as carefully as possible, in terms of memorability, easy to use, easy to remember. A smile, something as simple as that. That's more Steve's realm. I don't really give a crap about stuff like that. I want to put that in. The best web address possible. Something that's not too convoluted. That's hard to do these days, but important. A friendly conversation. That's one of Steve's things. How your office phone is answered. That's also marketing. Marketing, in the end, is everything your customer experiences from you. Everything. Mistake number 2 is thinking like you, or what I call me thinking. I've been in many, many, many meetings where initially, before I argue back, an idea that I'm presenting is rejected by my client. Now, there are 2 reasons for rejection. One is either it's a bad idea, or 2, the client is thinking like him or herself rather than putting him or herself in the position of the prospective customer or the target audience. So if it's a bad idea, then he should reject it or she should reject it. But if it's a good idea and that person is only thinking thoughts about what they like and don't like, that's a bad position to be in. For example, if somebody comes up to you with an idea for pink trucks, and your response is, I hate pink, therefore pink will suck, that's bad. That's a personal opinion. It could very well be that pink is a terrible idea for your trucks, but it isn't for Baskin-Robbins or for Owens Corning fiberglass, or maybe even for Taco Bell, but it's more of a purpose. The better approach is idea, pig trucks, reaction. Will my target audience like it? Then reject it based on that, but not based on your own personal feelings about pink. I personally hate pink. If you go to Bidlack.com, my website, go to free treats, there's a whole sheet on this called Stop Thinking Like You that you can download. And I also have some copies here. Mistake number 3, no company positioning statement. I have to put my glasses on and see what I wrote here for my notes. Positioning is the place or status or niche that you hold in the minds of your target audience. A positioning statement is your claim of expertise. Now, a positioning statement is rarely made public. It's something you create, that you write within your own company or organization, and keep within your own company or organization, but use every time you're creating any marketing material. It is sort of the foundation, the first step of your marketing process. It's usually a private document, not always. Sometimes it sounds too good not to share it with the audience. It's usually short, and it's always very, very hard to write. Again, positioning is the place or status or niche that you hold in the mind of your customer. This is an example, a rather fuzzy out of focus example, of the positioning statement worksheet that we use, and I have some samples I can pass out afterwards. And I'll go through this quickly. There's a first draft and a second draft and a third draft column because it's so hard to do. And we always do these in pencil because it's so hard to do them in ink. I'm going to refer to my copy over here. On the far left-hand side, there's an example. I stole this from a book by Harvey Beckwith called Selling the Invisible, and I made a chart out of it. And he uses the example that I've reproduced here, the Bloomingdale's department store positioning statement, which reads, Bloomingdale's is the fashion-minded department store for trend-conscious upper-middle-class shoppers looking for high-end products. Unlike other department stores, Bloomingdale's provides unique merchandise in a theatrical setting that makes shopping entertaining. So there's a who, Bloomingdale's, of what is the fashion-minded department store, for whom, what needed, against whom, what's different, and so. Those are the elements of the positioning statement worksheet that we use. And this becomes, whatever the end positioning statement is, that becomes the foundation, as I said, for your marketing efforts. So we're big fans of positioning statements to begin the process. Mistake number 4 is not standing out. Now, you should already be standing out through your reputation for your company or organization. But in addition to that, you should be standing out with interesting advertising, unusual or really cool professional vehicles if you have them, and to one extent or another, bragging. Maybe not overtly, but shyness is not something you want in marketing. An example, Nike stands out because they spend millions of dollars on advertising and have gotten to the point where you don't even need the word next to this to know what it is. On the other end of the equation is the Chick-A Drive-In in Ypsilanti. They stand out because A, it's really cool and it's totally unique, and the logo is pretty ugly, and they're spending nothing compared to Nike for advertising. Jeffrey Feiger stands out because he's an asshole. But he does it on purpose. So think through how you can stand out in your own, hopefully non-assholish way from your competitors. Mistake number 5 is sort of a no-duh one, no brochure. And frequently clients will say to me, when I bring this topic up, they say, Chris, 2000s and 12s, it's the teens, right?
It's 2 team.
And we do not need a brochure these days. Everybody goes online. And I say, yes, you definitely need the online stuff. That's very, very important. But you also need a brochure for the validation factor. You need a brochure that Mr. and Mrs. Smith can look at over a coffee table, over a dining room table, and without the aid of a computer or the need of a computer, that they have to go upstairs and get in their study, or go to a table to use. You got a brochure that they can look through and keep with them in the file when they're making the decision on hiring a firm. Mistake 5A is a stupid brochure. And this part might hurt your feelings, but people who try to do these things internally without the help of a professional often create stupid brochures. It's very hard when you're inside the organization, your own organization, looking at your own brochure to see how stupid it is. But about 80% of the brochures, in my opinion, out there in the world are stupid. Ford Motor Company and all of them spend millions of dollars on brochures, even in this world of electronic communication, with phenomenal photography, with copywriting that has been struggled over and sweated over and refined and refined. Why did they do this? The internet's out there. They do it because people still want the tactile validation of a brochure. Now compare that to the typical Chinese restaurant menu. Now, this is probably very, very appropriate for its purpose, but Ford spends millions of dollars here, very little money is spent here. And I use this as a comparison because I didn't really want to put a real ugly brochure out there of a real company. But it's critical in your, assuming you are mostly builders and remodelers, in your field to think about quality brochures, because people may be spending as much or nearly as much, or even half as much as a car, but still a lot of money for a project for you guys. And if you don't have that validation with great photography with your samples, you're going to lose out to the competitor who does. It should also be on your website. It should be downloadable on your website. But brochures are critical in this world of electronics. Mistake number 6, general appearance at variance with customer expectations. What the hell does that mean? Let's say you call a phone company, come fix your phone line or whatever, although that really happens today. And they were to show up with this archaic logo, and you go, what the hell? No, AT&T knows that this is the logo they need. This is the image they need. This is a complete variance with what the customer expects in terms of professionalism and the visual ramification of that professionalism with this logo. So it's sort of a no-brainer, no-doubt thing, but I wanted to put it on the screen to make the point. So, an example, ugly truck. We talked about dirty trucks, trucks that are dented, trucks that are rusty, do not look like they're coming from a successful professional company. Ugly employee, somebody who hasn't shaved, intentionally or not, someone who has a mustard stain on his shirt from lunch. All this stuff counts, it's noticed, it's part of marketing. And it's part of the trust process that Steve will also get into a little bit. Or an ugly attitude. And Steve's the attitude guy here, so he's going to talk about that later on too. But these 3 things are part of things that can be at variance with what the customer expects. And number 7, no candy bar descriptor. When you get a Snickers candy bar at the convenience store and look at the wrapper, it says Snickers. But under that it says milk chocolate and peanuts, or peanut nougat, or whatever the hell it says. But it's a description of what's inside, what's under the wrapper. So we came up with the term candy bar descriptor to differentiate that statement from a slogan or a tagline. A slogan is more poetic. Soaring to new heights. Best builder in Washington County, whatever. But a candy bar descriptor is much more descriptive, less sexy, less poetic. A candy bar descriptor is a succinct description of your service. Look at this. Smith & Jones Landscaping, Jackson Landscaping, Bill's Landscaping. Your prospective customer goes to Google, the phone book maybe, probably not, Yelp. First thing they see are a bunch of names. Now, if Bill adds a candy bar descriptor to his, low maintenance garden design and installation, that differentiates him from Smith & Jones and Jackson. It's not a slogan, it's a description of what they do. Another example, Jordan Remodeling, Big Sky Remodeling, Patch Remodeling. Again, you go to Google, you go to the phone book, you go to the website here, you go to Yelp, they all look the same. Unless Pat puts a candy bar descriptor next to his name and brand, 5-day projects for working homeowners. I don't know what that is, but it sounds good to me. It has to be true, by the way. It has to be, you can't just make it up out of the air. You have to really concentrate on what your company does, what it does best, what you find most fun, and then specialize a little bit as you announce it in your brand. A third example, Alice Thompson Builders, Springfield Builders, Dana Builders. You get my point here? Everything, no differentiation. Experts in the new construction methodology. I know what it is. Maybe it's kind of top out, but it's interesting. It sounds cool. It's a candy bar descriptor. So we're at the end of my part of the presentation. Now it's Steve's turn.
Any questions for Chris before I get going?
Yeah.
In your experience with all your research, when you put a phone number up, call 1-800-Bidlack. Do people get annoyed if they have to figure out what the, how to turn the letters into numbers?
I have two answers for you. One is the personal opinion answer, and one is the professional opinion answer. The professional opinion answer is it probably works to have the letters, dialing letters, because people remember words better than numbers. A lot of people do it. A lot of research has probably been done in it in larger businesses. My personal opinion is I hate it. And I don't do it because it's stupid and it's too hard to figure out the letter number thing.
So you don't recommend to your clients?
I do not.
Okay.
But I usually don't recommend a phone number as a primary method of communication. I recommend a web address. I would never put a phone number on a billboard because as you're driving down the road, there's no way you're going to remember even, either of the two ways of doing it. Yes.
One big problem nowadays with the letters for numbers is a lot of the smartphones don't show the letters on the dial pad. People might have no idea what letter corresponds to what number.
End of discussion. Yeah.
That brings up a good point because Chris and I worked on Bragg re-imaging, and I'm 60, and I'm from the boomer generation. We like to have conversations. We like paper and all of that. And sitting at the table was a younger gentleman that informed us about AnnArbor.com, and we went over to that side as well. However, 1-800-CALL-SAM. You always remember. You'll figure it out, I guess.
It's a different topic, though. Yeah. And the millions that they, or at least hundreds of thousands that they put toward that, probably more than hundreds of thousands, has been a reason that happened. So, one thing before you start, I have handouts for positioning statement worksheet, candy bar descriptor, and stop thinking like you that you can pick up afterwards.
I gave you a brief synopsis of what I used to do, but included in that was part of my job was hiring and training salespeople, and hundreds that I brought in and trained. And some of them are still out there working in the business. I've also had to fire dozens because of probably lack of communication skills and all the things that go along with the sales mentality. And because of those, I've dealt with millions of dissatisfied customers. And because of that, I realized that most of the problems that I had with customers were self-inflicted through our company and the communication and not asking proper questions and setting the stage and making things difficult. So as I started my company, Home Builders Advantage, we built our business and our brochure around the customer to preempt the problems that we knew were inherent in our business. You guys all know the problems in all of your businesses, and they keep popping up and popping up. So my job in my career was to create systems so they stopped popping up or lessen those. You ever been to IKEA, by the way, in Canton? If you drive into the parking lot and park, you'll see all of the signs in the parking lot that counter all of the objections before you get into the store. That we deliver, we assemble, all of those things that you're wondering as you see your living room all in pieces, they will do it. And how do I get it home? They will deliver. And before you walk in, they've countered all of the objections. So things that I'll talk about today go back to our second slide that said, tell me something I didn't know. But you will, it's always good to hear it again and remind yourself, oh yeah, I've forgotten about that. Chris asked me to join it today because I've been in the business, but maybe the best benefit I can give today is I have a 22-year-old house and everything's falling apart. So a few months ago, my dishwasher went out. So then the stove goes out and nothing matches, so you got to get a microwave. And the next thing you're getting is, oh, you got to have granite because it's mandatory anymore. And then we're going to paint the cabinets. And so I've been dealing with all of the trades and suppliers as they come in. And the problem that I have being a sales and marketing guy is I'm supposed to be paying attention to what they're telling me, but I'm also, and maybe more so, paying attention to how they're saying it, what they're not asking. You know, I was in the BS business for years, or am I being BS? And so I'm clouded. It's almost like, huh, what'd you say? Because I'm paying way too much attention to all of the little signals that they're giving off. What are they wearing? How do they smell? I actually had a guy stop in that after the tornado, got a phone call that I never pick up, and they said, we're in town for the day to give you a free estimate on roof replacement. And I do need a new roof because it's 22 years old. I said, okay, come on out. And they said, by the way, do you have insurance? I said, well, yeah, I do. So what these guys were doing were coming door to door and trying to get insurance to pay for their job, and I was intrigued by it. But the guy was drenched in high karate or something. I couldn't let him in my house, and I had to keep standing back from him. So I couldn't concentrate on what he was saying. And that whole high karate or Jade East or whatever the heck he was wearing tainted everything. I thought he was sleazy, and I couldn't trust him. So I'll probably do it, but I'll have to call a more reputable firm with a nice truck and no cologne. So anyhow.
Just started.
Mistake number one, and I am going to have to refer to my notes because I know this stuff, but I have to be reminded. If we think about the fears that the customer may have, depending on your business, now we've got a wide variety of guys. We've got flooring, we've got architecture, which is interesting, and then we have new home sales, and then we have a builder network here. So hopefully some of this will cross over. But in dealing with you, me as the customer, some of the things that are going on is our own ego, the customer's ego. and not letting you know that I don't know anything about your business. So that game is going on. So there's a fear of not knowing your industry, not knowing how things are done, what your processes are, and not knowing why you're better than the competition, not even knowing what questions to ask you. So the customer feels at a disadvantage. Plus, turn on any local news or national news magazine, and it's every week they're showing the guy that's the contractor that's faking the repair to the air conditioner. You know, they come in and they jack it up. They've got the hidden camera, and all of those things going on. So our fear right now, and the news people are in the fear business. They've done their job. They've got all of the consumers frightened. And so what Chris has been talking about is through marketing, you can eliminate a lot of those fears by looking professional and doing all of the steps in marketing to eliminate as much as you possibly can visually to give yourself an advantage when you walk in the door. Some of the things that you can have with you to keep you on track, because you are selling, is maybe a slideshow, but maybe a flip chart, maybe an iPad that takes that has a slideshow of the work that you have done, so that that the customer feels more and more comfortable with that. You can also use this stuff from starting with your concept, goes into your brochure, your business cards, onto your website, and onto your flip chart or your iPad. Everything is seamless. It runs through and consistent, and sometimes repetitive. If you have teaching tools in your package, things like 5 things to avoid when buying granite. By the way, I'm in the granite thing, and that is the biggest cootie catcher I've ever been involved in, because it's $51 a square foot, but you have to add 4, and you got to go over here and pick out your slab, and then I'll do it over here. I mean, I didn't have as much experience in that end when I was selling. I was with Toll Brothers, it was nothing but granite, but I wasn't as in tune with all of the steps that you have to take. It's very difficult, and you really get down to the point where you say, who's giving me the price, so that I can understand it in the most information, and do I like you? Do I trust you? Because that's how we made our decision finally on the granite. I like this guy, I trust this guy, he gave me more information up front. And you can have a kit. I don't know how that would work in floor covering, but how to decide on colors, or how to do this, how to do that, 5 considerations. And maybe articles about yourself, testimonials, if you've had anything printed. Oh, and that's the fear. We're trading needles too. Not creating the bond with the customer. I will say that the people that have been coming to my house are very nice, in that, however, they could create a better bond by not making me do the work. It's usually, what are you thinking of doing? That's about the only question we get out of what I've been getting out of the trades. And there are a lot of questions, and I'm big on asking a lot of questions because it shows that you are interested in them, that the more information you get, and they feel like you really care about them, and you're going into such detail. It opens a dialogue, and it also shows your expertise to painting contractors. When it comes in, a very nice guy told me what he was going to, how he would proceed, and he used one prop, a pen and a clipboard, and took some notes. I don't know what he was writing, but it looked like he was paying attention to me. Second guy came in, super nice guy. He was over bonding, talking about everything else but the job at hand. And then he just looked at it and said, it's $2,500. Thank you, Chris. Get me back.
I'll see what I can do.
We were fearing this. As far as the bonding, it's taking notes, maybe find some common interests, talk about who referred, if there's a commonality there, because don't we live mostly off referrals in this business? So there's the commonality to talk about them. They're wonderful people, and I'm so appreciative. A nice note back to them would be good too. And in your package, when you're working with people, include checklists for them and checklists for you to keep on track as the questions that you're going to ask them and the information that you need to know. Pilots. Chris is a big airline fanatic, and pilots use a checklist, even though they've flown millions of miles every time they take off. It keeps them in line. And you may want to think about that for your business as I've got to cover this stuff. And sometimes I'm in a hurry, phone's ringing, I got an employee quit, you got to stay on track. So hopefully the bond is created there, and an easy way to do it is ask a lot of questions. Making the buying decision too difficult. We are now in the new millennium. We have all of the computerization. We have all of the equipment that we need to make this go a lot easier, things that you can bring with you to make the sale happen tonight. But in a lot of cases, you're giving a bid, but you're not following through, or trades aren't following through and saying, how do I do this? How much? Okay, you tell me how much. You say, we take this amount now, and here's our schedule, and here's how we will advance. Again, a checklist item that will help you stay on track, because the customer's going, what? I mean, if you walked into a McDonald's and had never been there before, you might not know the procedure. We just take it for granted we know the procedure, but you don't always, our customers don't know the procedures of how you work. And again, it's making it as simple as possible from contact to contract. You can even have a flyer or an insert that says 5 easy steps. You may not get the job tonight, but here's how we do it. Leave that with the 5 easy steps, 1, 2, here's what we do. You could have a credit application with you, customer info sheet, a schedule, special discounts. How about a contract? And you have to go into assuming the sale. If you deal with one of the big siding guys or the window guys, they'll have their sales team out, and their salesman will come in. He's bringing his toothbrush. He isn't waiting until he gets that deal. And they will layer that thing so that, we got a special, it ends Monday, and I can make a call to see if we can extend it to Tuesday, but I'll need a deposit tonight, those kind of things. Kind of cheesy, but it works. And if there is a deadline, people will make a decision. If you cannot get the deal tonight, have a reason to call back. Tell them that you're going to call back. I need to get you some more information. Let me get this for you. This period of time, contact a contract. Realize that you might have 3, 4, 5 other of your competition coming in, so the cycles are going. And what I'm trying to stress is that the one that is the friendly guy, the guy that's organized, the guy that looks good, the one that gives the most information, the one that bonds, is getting the deal. If you're only a few $100 or $1,000 apart or $2,000 apart. Now, appreciating the future value of the customer. Chris, remind me who these guys are?
Time tunnel.
Time Tunnel. That's circa 1974 or something. TV show, cheesy, very cheesy. Not sure if there's another thing out there. I don't think so. But the small jobs, as you know, become big jobs. So you've done a remodel of a kitchen, and 4 years later, possibly they're going to do an addition, or they're going to do the bathrooms at this point. You've had the potential there of building a relationship to the painter at my house. Told him I wanted the cabinets painted. But now I need the kitchen painted as well. Never brought up by either one of these guys. And because we paint the ceiling, which bleeds into every other room, what am I going to do there? And what would have been an easy thing to say in the questioning, what's your plan for the rest of the house if we do paint your cabinets? Are you thinking about any other painting projects? No, as a matter of fact, I am, but I'm broke right now. How about I give you an estimate on how much to paint this whole thing? If it came in lower, or it sits there on my head and says, well, paint the rest of the house is $2,500, that's going to be a priority later on down the line. And he could have said, here's the estimate, we'll hold the price for 6 months, give us a call. And that's the next job. I need the outside painted too. So a relationship is formed, there's future business out there. Also, I heard that at a funeral, they print, you know, those prayer cards you get, they print 250 of those because everybody knows 250 people. So I was talking about our cabinets getting painted at Chris's office, and his wife said, hey, if they do a good job, will you give me their name, because I need a cabinet painted as well, and I need a lot of other paint. I'm not doing it anymore. That's how this whole thing works, and you guys know it better than anybody, is the referral business is key. You want to keep filling that feeder system for you. Building off your current jobs, do you guys, when you're building, do you have a sign in the yard that says that you're building? Also, there are systems online that if you put an address in, that it will contact the 50, you can have mailers sent to 50 houses around that house, available for free estimates. You do it either by postcard, or you could do it by, I don't know, hanging the door hangers, available for the next week for free estimates. You can start building the thing. I'm fascinated by the remodeling business because I think if you picked the right neighborhood or two with 700, 800 homes, you'd never have to leave. You know, the age of the homes, the price of the homes, the incomes of the people that are there, you just keep building off of these people. When are floors replaced?
How often?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it depends, but 5 years or, you know.
yeah. How about kitchens? You guys do kitchens, baths? About every, what, 10, 15 years? Yeah. So you pick a neighborhood with homes in that age bracket, I swear you could build off of it. And you have your signs up and your flyers out, another job by your company. And so that's where your future business comes from. You don't ever want to get a stall and say, I got nothing coming in. And I know all of us went through that. 08, 09, goes on. Forgetting the excitement of your first customer and how turned on when you just started your company, you got your truck, the phone rings. Oh my God, this is going to get snap. I got people calling me. And you are not only on a 5 energy high, you are torqued. And what happens over the years is, all right, got to go out and do another bid. I got to go through this. Oh, that guy's in church. You know, you do get tainted, and you have to keep yourself up, and you have to get excited, excited about your work, excited about your business, excited about your employees, and most important, you have to stay excited about your customers and get involved with them. And really, you know, it might be just a small job. How small? You contractors in here, what's the smallest job you guys get involved in?
Probably below 10 bucks.
Anything? What's a small job?
I take the trash out for my customers.
Yeah.
If they're handicapped, I'll bring their groceries in when they.
But I mean, the job itself. What did they call you in there to do? what is your staple? What is it that you guys, what is a small contract job?
Might be as small as just going over and doing a repair, then you start a relationship with them, and then, like you
Okay.
said, you know, and you build on that.
Yeah.
Maybe they call you back, and you say, that gives you a foot in the door, you talk to them about what you really do,
Yeah,
and next thing you know, they let their bad things. We've got one right now that just, you know, started out as a little basement repair, and then it's like, well, we want to put a bathroom down here, now we're in the kitchen.
there you go. And so that's why you've got to stay excited about it. And if you lost that excitement, take a break. Hire somebody that's excited and concentrate on some other part of your business. But it's contagious, and your customers will feel that energy, and it will work. Yes, sir.
One thing I found is that my customers, I know I'm successful when they call me for everything.
There you go.
They call nobody else.
You're part of the family.
I'm thinking about doing such and such, and I may not do that, but certainly I'll handle it for you.
Yeah. It's a harder thing to do because typically business owners are doing everything. You are, you're doing the books, you're doing the work, you're doing all of it. But having a system in place for follow-up, notes that go out, or your latest job that you just completed, they may be interested in it. And you know, it's a long-term relationship that you may pick up a job from them early on, and then it's 7 years later, then it's 5 years later. But if you've got 300 of those people, I think Starbucks figures that $2 cup of coffee, each one of those customers is worth about $3,500. So they know what their real job is, and their real job is marketing. And so back into not following up. Again, most people don't like it, don't feel, because they feel like they're harassing their client. What you have to realize, I'm in pain with this project that I have. I would love for the guy that I initially contacted, granted, if he would have said, "You gonna do any painting?" "Yeah, we're gonna paint the cabins." Okay, and how about any electrical? We're gonna have plumbing. I wish he would have said, "Okay, I got two great guys. I've got a guy that can do your painting, and I've got a guy that does electrical work, because you're gonna move that plug or whatever. And Steve, I just want to take care of you." That's what I'm begging for. I want somebody to just take it off my hands, because really, at a point, you're in pain. You just want the thing done. In follow-up, if you keep that in mind, that you are not harassing them, that you are truly helping someone eliminate their pain, and it makes it easier for them. It's great to have a follow-up system, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you need a system, because I had a major lawn service, and they followed up, and I had some concerns, and they did nothing. And then they called 3 months later and asked the same questions, and 3 months later, the same questions.
Yeah.
You know, I had a summer contract, and then, you know, this year I canceled it, and they were, "What?" You know, so if you're gonna follow up, you have to do something. You can't just ask the
Just
question.
don't be an
I'm not
automatic.
happy with this.
Right. And that gets into hiring the right people as well. Smart, friendly, motivated. I do know with Pulte that for their warranty service people, they were hiring guys that knew how to fix things. And they were very talented. But what they started doing a few years back is they started recruiting from Michigan State's communications school, because they figured they could teach them the repair business, but they couldn't teach them the communication skills. So I always work from a standpoint of hiring smart, friendly, motivated people, and got some brains and with the follow-up, and not just being an audible time. You have to have everybody on the same mission as where you want your company to go.
Can I say something on that, on behalf of that?
I'm
It's
sorry?
also I'm sorry, my name is
Yeah.
Yolanda with G&D Graphics.
Yeah.
That's also kind of a reminder, because I also do a lot of follow-up calls with clients and so forth, my clients. sometimes they're like, wow, thank you for calling me, I completely forgot, you know.
Yes.
So you're actually doing them a service because they're with everyday daily tasks, whether it's mother going with soccer, going here, parents are, they get busy, they get, doing whatever they're doing throughout their daily course, or even us as workers too as well, with our businesses. We need that constant reminder for a call them.
You were absolutely right.
So-
And there have been times where I think, I have Purple Heart call me. And it's always one of these numbers that, it's like, I think it's a lady out of her house or her cell phone or something shows up on my TV and I'm like, what the heck is this? So I always pick up and I always have something to give to Purple Heart. And I always thank her, thanks for calling and reminding me. So it's not that you're harassing people. It's, if you get the mindset that you're helping them. And it was one of the harder things I had in training sales managers to do, because you almost didn't need a cheat sheet of what the heck can I call them for again and again and again. But the one that stays on it is the one that's going to get the job. Being the low bidder is going to happen if you don't do everything that Chris and I have been talking about. It starts with likability, trust, honesty, professionalism, first impressions, organization, image, education, follow-up, ease of moving forward. All of that comes before price. And so when you get a referral and somebody says you did a good job, that's what a good job is. It's all of those items put together. Sometimes we just get mired in the task at hand and doing a good job there and doing great work and not always being appreciated for the time and the effort and money that you put into that job. You have to resell yourself